So to make sure that we can take images, I'll add a new method here to this user ImagePicker state class, and I'll name it _pick_image. And in there, I want to use this ImagePicker. I want to create such an ImagePicker object by using the ImagePicker class, which is provided by this ImagePicker.dart file from the ImagePicker package. So this import here must be added. On this created ImagePicker object, we can then call pickImage and define our source. And here I'll use the image source enum, which is provided by the ImagePicker package, to use the camera as the source. Of course, you could also use the gallery, but here I'll use the camera. I'll set the image quality to 50 so that we get a small file size and the max width to 150, because here I don't need a big image, just a small tiny one, since I'll not show it as a full screen image in the app or anything like that. So I will only show it as a small picture, and therefore to make sure that we don't generate a super large image, which also takes up a lot of bandwidth when we upload or download it, I'll actually restrict it both regarding its size and its quality, so that we get a nice, small, fitting image. Now pickImage, of course, returns a future, which then eventually yields such an X file, and therefore here, on pickImage, I'll add async, so that here we can await this operation, and in the end we'll get the picked image here as a result. And this picked image should then be set as an image that can be used as a preview down there. So therefore here, I'll actually add a new property to this class, which I'll name picked_image_file, and the type should be file. And for this type to be available, we must add a new import here from Dart.io. And this will be null initially, hence I'll add a question mark here to make it clear that this is not necessarily set. It may be set, but it doesn't have to be. And here, once we took an image, I will of course now set it. I will set it inside of setState to make sure that this build method is triggered again. And in there, I'll then set picked_image_file equal to a file created by using file as a constructor function, so this file class, which is provided by Dart.io, just as I did it in an earlier course section. And to file, we pass our picked image, and then there, the path. Now, picked image may be null if we closed the camera without picking one, and therefore here I'll also add a little if check, where I check if picked image equals null, and if that's the case, I'll just return here and therefore not do anything. We'll only continue with this step here if picked image is not equal to null. So then we access its path, create a file object based on that path, and store that file object in picked_image file. And with that stored here, the foreground image on this circle avatar can and should be set to a file image if we have a picked image available. File image in the end yields an image provider, and foreground image wants such an image provider. That's why we're using file image here instead of the image file constructor function, which would generate a widget instead of a image provider. And here we need an image provider, so file image it is. And to file image, we pass our picked image file, but only if it's available. Therefore here I'll check if picked image file is not equal to null, in which case I'll use this image provider. Otherwise, I'll set a value of null to foreground image. And here, after picked image file, we can and should now add an exclamation mark to tell Dart that here, in this branch of the ternary expression, picked image file will not be null. So that should display the preview image then, and therefore now we can save everything, stop this running process, since I did install some packages that do actually use native device features, and then rerun the app to make sure that the entire app bundle is recreated from the ground up. And therefore, once that's finished, we can then give this a try, and we should be able to open the camera, take an image, and also see that image. Of course, we also must make sure that this method is connected to the button though, and therefore as a last step, whilst this is restarting, I'll set on pressed here to pick image. So to this method we just added. With that, this method here will be triggered whenever we tap this button and will then take this image and hopefully also show a preview. Therefore, this widget here is finished and we can now use this user image picker widget in the off screen, and there I want to show it above these text inputs, but of course only if we are in sign up mode. Because if we're not in sign up mode, users should not be able to take images, because if users are just logging in, there's no reason to pick an image. Hence here in this column where I have these text form fields, I'll add this user image picker widget, but only if we are in login mode. So I'll add a if check here using this if statement syntax that can be used inside of lists, where I'll check if not is login. So if we're not logging in, if we are signing up, then this will be added. Otherwise, this will be ignored and will not be added here. And with this added now, with this code added here, we can now save this, restart the app, and if we now go to create an account, we can see this image picker here. Now I actually want to adjust the styling a little bit now that I look at it, but let's first try whether it works. And therefore here, if I click on add image, indeed, the camera does open up, I can take a picture, confirm it, and I see my preview here. So that's working. Therefore, now I just want to improve the styling a little bit by making sure that the text color of this button matches the icon color. And for that, back here on this text button, I just have to fix a tiny error. Instead of accessing primary color on the theme, we should first access the color scheme object and then primary on that color scheme. So not primary color, but just primary on the color scheme of the theme. And if we do that, this now looks better. And that's now this image picker added here. Therefore, next up, let's make sure that those picked images also do get uploaded.